So, no doubt many of you will have heard today's breaking news that supposedly Lewis Hamilton is on the verge of a shock move to Ferrari. Whoopee-doo. Now, am I bothered about that? No, I am not. Whether it happens or not, we will wait and see. I'm not going to speculate because I don't know. So, when it's confirmed, it will be what it will be. But let's have a listen. Let's have a look at what the BBC and their chief, Andrew Benson, has to say about it. Here he is. Look, Andrew Benson, by Andrew Benson, chief F1 writer. This is the corrupt bastard that has never revealed to the British public or anybody around the world that reads the BBC News what truly has happened in the sport of Formula One. So we'll have a look what Andrew has to say. Now, I watched the BBC earlier today and on their news, I can't find the clip of this, but they had a lady presenting about it. And this news was apparently the biggest news in Formula One for years. This is the biggest news in Formula One for years. Not Abu Dhabi 2021, not the most corrupt thing that's happened in the world of sport in decades. That's not the biggest thing in Formula One for years. It's just the speculation as to whether Lewis Hamilton's moving to Ferrari or not. Okay. So, Hamilton poised for a shock move to Mercedes. Okay, 39-year-old. Okay, we like to draw attention to age. That's not that relevant. If you're good enough, then the age really isn't an issue if you're still capable of performing and dominating on the world stage. So, but we like to start writing people off based on their age. Let's just come down here for a little bit now. Where is it? All a bit of fluff. Red Bull have dominated the sport over the past 2 seasons since the controversial 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, when Hamilton lost out to Max Verstappen after former FIA race director Michael Massey ignored the rules in operating a late race safety car period. Okay, thanks for that once again, Andrew. Okay. Red Bull have dominated the sport over the past 2 seasons since the controversial 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. That's all you can ever say about it, isn't it, Benson? Controversial. Okay. Since then, he's been driven by the desire to avenge what he believes to be an injustice. Okay, what he believes. You've never exposed the magnitude of the injustice, Andrew? You just want to project he thinks that he's been hard done by. What else? I think there was something further down here. Sorry for taking my time. I'm sure I read something else about this. Let's go down here. Hamilton was badly hurt by the events of the 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. He believes he was robbed of an 8th world title by race director Massey's failure to follow the rules correctly with the operation of the safety car late in that race. Since then, he has been driven by a desire to avenge that injustice, even if he's not quite put it that way in public. Okay. Hamilton was badly hurt by the events of the 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. He believes he was robbed. What do you believe, Andrew Benson? Because you've never told us this. And it's not a case of what you believe. It's a case of what you can evidence and what you can expose, which as a journalist, which as a chief journalist, you never have. So let's go back to the start of the things that were wrong about Abu Dhabi, which, if sport is authentic, you do not get this clusterfuck of wrongdoings. Okay, let's be clear. Number one, and this is one we get in the comment section from the strap-on fanboys that are thick as fuck because they don't understand the basics. Number one, all teams agreed to a racing finish. Well, straight away, alarm bells. That's a fraud. You can't do that. Both teams agreed that the World Cup final should be decided with a penalty shootout. Well, you can't do that because you're rigging an outcome to an event. Both teams agreed that the Cricket World Cup final should go down to a super over. Well, you can't do that because you're predetermining an outcome in a sporting event. Both teams agreed that the game should be settled with a final try in the last minute of the game in the Rugby World Cup final. You can't do that because you're predetermining an outcome. That's not valid sport. That is a fraud. That is sport fixing. So anybody that wants to jump up in comment sections and say, oh, you're forgetting that all of the teams agreed to a racing finish, it's irrelevant. Even this notion of discussion, oh, we sat down as all of the stakeholders in Formula One and we decided between us that commercially it would be better for the sport if the sport didn't end with the final Grand Prix ending behind a safety car. You know what? That's not sport then, is it? Because you play that sport in accordance with the rules and you can't predetermine an outcome. And if events dictate that ending has to be the way it is, that's the way it is. You can't manipulate it any other way because you are fixing. That is fraud. You are manipulating an outcome. So there's number one, and you've never exposed that, Benson. Number two, all teams went along with the facade of it even being possible to allow racing to resume with lapped cars in situ. So in those last 5 laps of Abu Dhabi, when Brundle is telling the world, and how long will they wait? And, oh, this is terrible because even if we do have 1 lap of racing, so I think the safety car will be coming in at the end of this lap, and there will be 1 more racing lap. And it's ending, Wow! Okay, this is all what Brundle was telling us. But he was projecting, initially, oh, yeah, what chance has Max got now? Because there's these 5 cars in place that he's got to battle his way through first. You can't do that. The whole of this racing world has lied to you, pretending that was even possible. And none of them have actually said to you, you can't do that. Why can't you do that? And I've told you on numerous occasions, Lando Norris, that car directly behind Lewis Hamilton in that safety car period, was closer to Pierre Gasly than Max Verstappen was to Lewis Hamilton when Nicholas Latifi crashed. You cannot allow a safety incident to disadvantage Norris and make him lose a lap on Gasly, whilst at the same time allowing Verstappen to get right behind Hamilton. That's not the way the sport works. But this isn't a sport, it is a show. It is contrived. It lies to you. It lies to its fans. That's the contempt that it treats you, the fan, with. It lies to you about the rules of the sport so that you don't even know. There will be people that will listen to this and they will question this. They will not know the truth of this. They still think that racing could resume with lapped cars in position. That has not been allowed since 2012. There's a reason, and it's called sporting fairness to all competitors. That is dictated by the FIA International Sporting Code, the FIA's own rules. the governing body that doesn't apply its own rules and actually manipulates them to fix the outcome of the sport. This is how corrupt this shit show of a show is. And once again, Andrew Benson didn't reveal that. You look at all of the radio messages between the teams and the drivers, and they're all going along with the notion of somehow manufacturing a racing finish to that event, even though that's not permitted in the rules at that stage. I've done videos about that. Further to that, when on lap 57, those 5 of 8 lapped cars are released, and we get, oh, and it's ending, wow. Oh, and 5 cars are being released, safety car ending. What? That's not allowed. That's not normal. There are reasons why this is not allowed. When have you ever been told those reasons? When have you ever been told the reason why that mandatory safety car lap has to be done? Instead, you go, oh, yeah, just Massey just did something that was a bit unconventional by bringing in the same lap rather than just going by the letter of the law. But yeah, but when you do that, then you get the lawyers involved, and it's down to legal interpretation. No, it's not. That's all lies. That's just designed to confuse the thick people, the ones that aren't intelligent, that just accept the bullshit narrative. Yeah, we'll make the silly people, we'll make the thick people believe it. That's fine. We can easily convince them. We're the media. We can condition minds. That's fine. No, they didn't tell you, because by telling you, it exposes the fix. I tell you, but people argue with me. They think that I don't know what I'm talking about, but it's quite simple. It's for a reason: to restore sporting fairness to every competitor in the event. A Formula One Grand Prix is not a race-off between 2 cars over 1 lap. It's contested by all of the people still running in the race. And if that race has to be suspended due to a safety incident in order to restart it, then sporting fairness has to be established for all competitors, not just one, where it's set up for one to win, which is what happened in Abu Dhabi 2021. But Benson has never told you that. What about when Benson describes it as Michael Massey decided to change the rules of Formula One, to break the rules of Formula One? Does Benson not reveal there's at least 10 people, FIA employees, FIA personnel in FIA race control, all complicit, all that know the rules of the sport, all that know the purpose of those rules? Does Benson reveal that? No, he doesn't. The BBC's the chief F1 writer, Andrew Benson, when has he ever told you this? He hasn't, has he? Oh, Benson just parrots the narrative, gets his little paycheck, gets his handsome paycheck for lying to you, convincing you of the fucking fraud, because he's a fraudulent bastard. Now, in the UK, we have recently witnessed the TV drama based on real life events of people's lives, post office employees being destroyed by corruption, by lies, by deceit, by huge big business, and by UK government. And people are outraged by it. And the media did not reveal it. Benson, this is coming out. This will all be exposed, and you are going to be exposed for your role in hiding the truth from the people, because you are corrupt. So, number 4, the 4 stewards. There is an appeal process in the sport of Formula One. Unlike many other sports, you can change the result of the event after the event. In the sport of Formula One, Mercedes went through the process of appealing. The 4 stewards rejected that appeal. totally corruptly. When has Andrew Benson ever revealed the true nature of that steward's appeal? I've done several videos about it. What has Andrew Benson ever revealed about that process? The true nature of the corrupt decisions made in that steward's appeal? He hasn't. The governing body, the FIA, has the power as governing body to set precedent when something unprecedented happens. They didn't. They acknowledged that their rules were broken and they went, yeah, but we're satisfied that it was all done in good faith. We're happy with that. Move on. And we've actually got it rubber stamped by the World Motorsport Council. We've done a nice little report to them and got them to say, oh, yeah, that's okay. We'll accept that. Corrupt through and through. When has Benson ever delved into any of that? The chief Formula One writer responsible for informing you about what's going on in the world of Formula One. Never done it. Which brings us to the media. Sky Sports F1 lying to you about the rules of the sport before Massey even broke those rules of the sport. F1 TV, the global broadcaster, not showing you what you needed to see and instead chopping and changing, keeping you guessing. And are we going to get to see any more racing laps? What jeopardy? And we'll send you the message of Max's pit crew saying, oh yeah, it's typical. I'm not surprised that race control is preventing you from being able to challenge Lewis Hamilton here. Poor you, Max Verstappen. Poor you. Christian to Michael, why aren't we getting these lap cars out the way? We only need one racing lap. They like to inform you of that, didn't they, F1 TV? They like to tell the global audience that narrative rather than just simply show you the camera at turn 14 of that track, show you how long it was taking to clear up that incident, and if it wasn't clear so that those lapped cars could be released and have passed that safety car by the end of lap 56 so that lap 57 could be that mandatory safety car lap, it dictated that that race finished behind the safety car, and as such, Lewis Hamilton was on course to become an 8-time world champion. It is as simple as that. But you didn't get to see that. You didn't get the chance to observe that with your own eyes and understand that. As soon as that Nicholas Latifi crash happened, all you needed was somebody to clearly say, okay, we've got a crash. This could be a safety car finish with it happening so late in the race. What needs to happen to have any chance of racing, with lapped cars being in situ now, the only way we can get racing is for this incident to be cleared up and the track to be declared safe so that those lapped cars can be released and have passed the leader and the safety car prior to the commencement of lap 57. That way lap 57 can be given to those released cars as their mandatory lap with which to attempt to catch the back of the pack, and that's the only way that we will get a final racing lap in this event. If that can't be possible, then this race will end behind a safety car, and providing Lewis Hamilton does not crash out of this race or suffer mechanical failure, he will become a record-breaking 8-time world champion. It's quite simple, isn't it? But you were never told that. Why? Why were you never told that? Because it's one big hype show. It's a big hype show with decisions made for commercial interest purposes, for making money. That's not sport. That's cheating. That's fraud. That's dressing something up as a sport and then conducting it fraudulently. That is what has happened. Now, what's the upshot of all that? Well, the upshot of all that is let's look at sport in general. Let's look at real sport, okay? Let's look at real sport. Now, real sport, if we look at the BBC, a lot of their sports journalists are actually all right. Benson's the corruptest out of them. Benson is truly corrupt, absolutely 100% corrupt. Andrew Benson. You can look at rugby union, and we've got a story which has emerged within the last few days. And where are we? Legal action taken from World Cup online abuse. World Rugby takes legal action following match official abuse monitoring after World Cup. Online abuse. Who perpetrated that in the sport of Formula One? Who created online abuse in the sport of Formula One? That is Liberty Media. That is the FIA. That is the media. That is the lies being presented by Sky Sports F1, the lies being presented by the BBC. The BBC's Andrew Benson lying about the sport, not presenting the truth, and hence dividing people, conditioning people's minds with false belief, with false information, which has perpetrated abuse. Corrupt bastards causing conflict. That is exactly what they have done. We've also got a story. If we scroll further down, and let's go back to the main page, and we go down to another story which relates to fit and proper people in sport. Trainer, horse racing trainer stripped of licence after campaign of abuse. You can read that story. 2021, Silverstone. A campaign of abuse spiked racial hatred in the sport of Formula One. A campaign of abuse against a certain driver, accusing him of trying to inflict damage on another driver. I'm going to do a video on that bastard Christian Horner. Abusive bastard Christian Horner, who is not only corrupt, he is not a fit and proper person to be involved in sport. Not only because he's an abuser, he's corrupt, but he incited hatred due to what he said after Silverstone 2021 and his role in the manipulation of the 2021 not only season but the 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. So it will come back to haunt you, Andrew Benson. Chief, I don't give a shit about whether Hamilton goes to Mercedes or not. Well, I'll come back to that in a second. But I wrote this on there a while back. Just controversial still, Benson. Is that your level of journalistic ability? He believes he was robbed, does he, Benson? Hamilton believes he was robbed because you've never exposed the true nature of it. Yet you, Benson, have never exposed the true level of systematic corruption regarding Abu Dhabi 2021. And just like the post office scandal, this will come out and you will be exposed too, Benson. Okay, so if you scroll down the comments in the BBC's article now, mine was at 14:35 UK time. It's got a few likes and a lot more dislikes now because a lot of people don't like hearing it because they don't understand. There's even a reply to it saying, what are you going on about? And I've responded to that saying, if the media didn't lie to you, you wouldn't be asking that question. You need to ask that question because you've been lied to, but you don't understand that you've been lied to. That is the true nature of it. But anyway, back to the Hamilton to Ferrari situation. Now, the bit that does concern me about that is this: that the strategy calls by that Ferrari team, they're not the most decisive, and they tend to sound a little bit like this.
Bring it. Question, come on. Bring it. Question, tell me.
So even though we know Mercedes are shit with their decision making and their strategy calls, Ferrari are even worse. And with that Ferrari car, we know that its qualifying pace can often be good, but its race pace, not so much. Now, whether that's due to the drivers or whether that's due to the car, the setup, I don't know. I'm not party to having all the information. So therefore, I'm not going to speculate. I just deal with what we can access, what is truthful, and what we can evidence and identify. I'm not going to speculate on whether Hamilton's going to go to Ferrari or not, because until it's officially announced, I don't know. But I do have my concerns with Ferrari, because are they truly a package capable of winning world championships in the manner that they currently operate? And I'm not confident in that, but only time will tell. Anyway, until next time, speak to you all soon.